So today I am combining two things I love and adore, which is Pokemon and Hazbin Hotel. So to celebrate the release of the show in a few days, I decided to draw the main characters of Hazbin Hotel as Pokemon. So I'm starting off with a tall, lanky deer design inspired by Yveltal. Now if you haven't already guessed, this is Alistair. Alistair is one of my favorite characters along with Angel Dust, and I immediately saw him as a big, scary legendary Pokemon. Kind of like if Yveltal and Xerneas swapped roles. So I immediately get to work on a rough kind of base, and then I start using aspects of the character that I wanted to include in the Pokemon design, like big horns. We have his microphone for his tail. I made it zigzag because I feel like he would be part electric type, given that radio is kind of his shtick. So in my opinion, that kind of translates to electric type. I thought that would be fun. My favorite part about this design is honestly the cheeky arch eyes and big grin he has got going on. I really feel like it kind of mirrors him from the show, and I'm so keen to see so much more of this character and have more of his personality and lore shown. But I am really excited about this design, honestly. I wanted to keep the pinstripes from his suit, and I wanted to incorporate that into the design, and it actually helps break up the colors when I get to that stage. I decided I wanted to give him bigger horns. I decided I wanted him to look really streamlined. I didn't want him to just look like a basic deer. So I wanted to include the big, sharp teeth that he has in his actual character design. I love this in character designs. Every time I get to draw big zigzag teeth, I just get excited. I'm honestly really happy with how this design came out. I'm really happy with the colors. I try to keep the original colors from all of the characters when I feel like they fit, but I do change them up a little bit here and there. So in Alistair, I actually bring in more of a yellow tone to kind of represent more of the secondary electric typing I think that he would have, because I really just thought that the simple red and black design just didn't look interesting enough. So you see me play around a little bit with like where I want the yellow accents to be. I end up coming to a conclusion with the design. Here is our cunning, beloved Alistair. Now, here's what he would look like if he were a Pokemon. Cunning and crafty. Here is Reindeer. What do you guys think of this design? Honestly, I'm really happy with it. I think it looks really cool. Again, I just love his cheeky little shit-eating grin. Alright, next up is another favorite character of mine from the show. The seductive, the alluring Angel Dust. With this design, I wanted to make it more animalistic. Angel in the show is shown to be very humanoid and very beautiful, and I wanted to interpret him a little bit differently with the Pokemon design. So I was looking at Pokemon like Ariados for inspiration, and I had the idea of shaping his front arms in the shape of a love heart. I also do end up incorporating different love hearts into the design. I kind of knew what I wanted to do right off the bat. I wanted to put his chest fluff on his back. I wanted to put a big heart on it just to kind of represent what his character is about. One of my favorite things of Angel Dust's design was the stripes on his arms. Unfortunately, in the redesign, it seems like they've removed them. Honestly, they were one of my favorite parts of his design, so I have decided to include them. I'm not sure if they're just hidden by the gloves that he's wearing or if they're removed completely, but either way, I love Angel Dust's stripies. I also included one on the back. I come in with colors. These are pretty much the same colors that Angel Dust has in his character design. We got a very, very pale pink for the main color. I decided to do the odd eye colors, although I did it a tiny bit differently. I decided to swap the colors black and a deep kind of pink. Instead of including the pale yellow that he has, I just feel like for the Pokemon design, it kind of balances a bit more if I just swap the eye color completely. I include the darker pink as well as the gold. I included Angel Dust's iconic gold tooth, and on the back of the design, as little stingers, I decided to swap the colors, so I decided to include one gold stinger as well. Our flawless, seductive, drug-addicted Angel Dust. What would he look like as a Pokemon? Here it is. Luster, a bug and fairy type. This design is really cute. I would love this Pokemon on my team. I feel like it would be perfect for contests. What do you guys think? Next up, we have Charlie Morningstar. Honestly, at first I wasn't too sure what I wanted to do with Charlie as a Pokemon. And then I thought, okay, well, she's literally the Princess of Hell. She is the star of the show. Let's make her a mythical. Immediately I thought of Mew. She definitely gives me adorable, sweet, playful Mew vibes. So I come in with a Pokemon quite inspired by Mew. I decided I wanted her iconic, long, beautiful blonde hair kept in this design. I wanted to run it all the way down her body as if it was a very, very long, mystical tail that kind of grew from her hair, so it kind of doubles as both her hair and her tail. I wanted to give her big cute eyes, and I wanted to keep in her cute cheek circles. I feel like cheek circles work really well for Pokemon designs. It's kind of iconic, honestly. I wanted to make her quite fuzzy because I get a very cute, wholesome vibe from her. This design, while it may not be complicated, I am really happy with it. For the colors, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to keep the white as the main color. I wanted to add in the deep pink slash kind of reddish color for her cheek spots and her accent colors, and I also wanted to keep her hair blonde. I also changed her hairband color to red just to tie into the more simple design I had. I didn't want to use too many colors. The Princess of Hell, our adorably sweet and wholesome Charlie Morningstar. Let's take a look at what she would look like as a Pokemon. This is Improyal, the fairy type mythical Pokemon. This design, well, yes, it's very heavily inspired by Mew. In my opinion, it could be kind of like a cousin of Mew, or maybe even an alternate form of Mew. What do you guys think? Do you like this design? Next up is the tough and lovable Vaggie. I knew immediately what I wanted to do with this design. I took inspiration from a fair few different bug types. I wanted something quite similar to Venomoth in the face shape design. I also knew that I wanted to hide Vaggie's missing eye, and I wanted to do this within the design. I came up with the idea of one of the antenna being bent to cover the eye, kind of like how she does it with her hair. I wanted to do it with the Pokemon's antenna. I sectioned off the different parts of the body. I gave her some cute little pincers. I gave her a big all-seeing eye. I played around a little bit with this Pokemon's wings. I decided in the end I wanted to have the bottom wing chipped, kind of to mirror how she has her hair bow. I decided I wanted to give this Pokemon big lashes just to give it a more feminine look. I add in some designs that are similar to her outfit in the current redesign, and I come in with the colors. I want to keep them similar to her colors in the character design. I come in with a bold kind of deep pink reddish color for the head of the Pokemon, and I do end up changing the body color to a darker color to kind of mirror what her stockings are. Honestly, even though this character's coloring is a little bit bold, I love it. I love this Pokemon's design. It is probably one of my favorites. Vaggie, our strong and fearless protector of Charlie. What would this character look like as a Pokemon? And this is it. Metamorphia, the bug and fighting type. If this was an actual Pokemon, 100% I would use this on a run. I really love feminine Pokemon designs, and I really feel like I captured her strong feminine energy in this Pokemon design. What do you guys think of Metamorphia? Next up we have Husk. Now, this character is one that I actually had a whole different design for, and it was much more edgy, and then I looked at it and decided, no, I feel like doing him dirty today. So I scrapped it, and then I drew a very quick kind of skitty inspired tiny little kitten base. And then I decided to theme this little orb of a Pokemon after Husk's image. I don't know why, I just felt the chaos energy chiming through me, and I just, like I said, I wanted to do him dirty. So we have this cute little design happening here. I feel like this is definitely a first stage Pokemon, or maybe even a single stage Pokemon. I don't know, I feel like being a bitch today. So I decided to make his kind of like feathered eyebrows just a single feather instead. I decided to keep his tail design, just making it a lot shorter. I decided to keep his face design relatively intact, just with some big cute eyes. Instead of cat ears, I decided to give him his wings as his kitten ears. I decided to make one floppy just because I feel like it's cute. I just wanted to make him look cute in like an edgy, adorable way. I gave him some mean little eyebrows too because I just feel like this is the vibe today. This fuzzy little dude, this is Husk as a Pokemon. He has a lot of bark and maybe some bite, but a lot of adorableness to him. He's definitely a dark type. Also a flying type because of his cute little ears, but I don't know if he can really get too far. But the colors, I wanted to keep them really similar to Husk's actual colors. There's not many that I change. I do decide to put a big red heart on his back. You can't exactly see it very well with the angle that I've gone for, but the marking on his back is most definitely a heart shape. The white stripes on him, I do change those to black. I kept them as white initially because I thought it would break up the design, but I didn't think it looked edgy enough, so I made them black again. Our perfect bartender character, Husker. Let's take a look at what this tough boy looks like as a Pokemon. Here we have Chipper, the dark flying type. I'm sorry, Husk, I did you dirty, but I don't care. I want this Pokemon on my team. I want to use it on a playthrough. I adore it. It's actually turned out to be one of my favorites. What do you guys think of Chipper? Alrighty, next up is our cute, beloved little lady, Nifty. I love Nifty as a character. From the pilot, I wasn't too sure what to think of her, but after checking out the 2 early access episodes that came out a couple days ago, I've fallen in love with her. This crazy little love-obsessed psycho bitch. I love her. She's actually probably going to become one of my favorite characters. I see it now. I've fallen in love with her from these early access videos, and I feel like I'm only going to love her more as the episodes go on. I felt like for this design I wanted to go with a ghost type. I feel like it would fit her personality. I also wanted to go with fairy type as well because I feel like the cutesy kind of image that she has would fit well with that type. I actually draw a Pokemon quite similar to how she actually is. A small, thin, cute, little doll-shaped character. I do also keep the one eye that she has in her design. I change up the mouth. I wanted it to be jagged. I wanted it to be much more spooky. I make her cheek spots a lot bigger. I change her hair design completely. I do end up keeping the colors, however, but I do change the design of their hair. I wanted the hair to be put up with a pin. I feel like this Pokemon uses really long, sharp needles that it crafts to attack its opponents. I think of it as being really small. I think of it as being a bit ragged because they fight a lot and they make their own clothes and they have to continuously patch them up. That's why it's got patches on it. I really felt a connection to this Pokemon design. I loved drawing this one so much, and I come in with the colors. I didn't want to use white as her main color like she has in the show. I just didn't feel like I clicked with the color. Initially I come in with a pink, but I do end up changing this to a ghostly purple color. I keep the pinkish kind of red color for her hair and for her dress. I also keep it in the eyes and the cheeks. I put yellow and purple in the patches. I include white for the dress as well. And it's at this point that I actually changed the kind of red tone to a much more dull, less saturated pink tone. I like this a lot more for the Pokemon design. In the final look, I do end up putting the yellow into the hair as well. Alrighty, time to see what our adorable sweetie, man obsessed little nifty looks like as a Pokemon. And here we have it. Here is Obsedal, the fairy and ghost type. This has to be one of my favorite Fakemon designs I think I've done in a while. I particularly really like what I did with the hair and the face. Honestly, I love this Pokemon all around. What do you guys think of this particular design for Obsedal? Last but not least, we have Serpentious. Now this is the latest character to come into the main cast. I was honestly surprised when I heard that they had changed Serpentious from being a background character to a main cast member, but after seeing the first few early access episodes, I am not disappointed. He is such a silly, goofy, lovable sweetheart, and honestly, I just want to give him a hug. So for the Pokemon design, I wanted to make him look strong. I wanted to keep his big frills that he had. I wanted to give him big teeth. I wanted to give him sharp eyes. I also wanted to give him arms and claws. I picture him as being a strong dragon type. I also picture him having a secondary typing of psychic. If you look at Serpentious's design, he really does look like a Pokemon anyway, just like a more humanized version of one. So I didn't really have to use my imagination too much for this, because I knew I wanted to keep the eyes, I knew I wanted to keep the snake theme, I wanted to keep his big kind of frills that he has, I wanted to keep his stripes. It was a lot of fun to turn him into a Pokemon and make him look even more snake-like, honestly. You can see with the ideas of the eyes, I tried to think of where I wanted one. At first I wanted one on the tail, and I said no, fuck that, it looks weird, so I put it above his head. This is the all-seeing psychic eye. Like I said, I do see him as having psychic in his typing. With the colors, I come in with the same colors that he pretty much has in his design. I come in with a dark gray kind of blackish color. I do lighten up the tone a little bit with the black/gray. I keep the yellow, I keep the red for the eyes. I do keep the black for under his eyes, although I do make it yellow initially. I do change that to black. I make his pinstripes that he has down his side red, and I also make his fangs red. Our silly, lovable, adorable inventor Serpentious. Let's take a gander at what this guy would look like as a Pokemon. And here it is, Serpentious, the dragon and psychic type. Now, I came up with Pokemon-esque names for everyone, but Serpentious is honestly already a perfect Pokemon name. It's already got that cheeky pun/double meaning that Pokemon loves to do. I couldn't think of a better name for him. So Serpentious, his Pokemon name is Serpentious. Granted, it's spelt a little differently, but the name is still pretty much the same, and honestly, this design is one of my favorites that I've done in ages. I love this character, and I love this fakemon design, guys. Would you have this Pokemon on your team? I know you would. Let me know what you think of this design in the comment section below.